So, if you couldn't tell by my silly post, today is Independence Day here in America, and I want to talk about Ukraine through the lens of American philosophy and history. I'm going to talk a bit about the history of the founding documents, Jefferson's path, etc., and then kind of encompass Ukraine a bit into that. And some of this philosophy and ideas are derived from Mark Toth and Colonel Jonathan Sweet. When Thomas Jefferson embarked on the journey of drafting the Declaration of Independence, it was the universal essence of freedom gleaned from the works of 18th century philosopher Francis Hutcheson, who, ironically, was British. And it formed the core aspects of Jefferson's points in the Declaration of Independence. Hutcheson's writings on unalienable rights set the stage for Jefferson's defense of the colonies and their inherent entitlement to liberate themselves from King George III. Jefferson's declaration was imbued with the triad of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness inspired by Hutcheson's philosophy. These concepts, however, emerged not from any kind of common law or even the Bible or biblical doctrine itself, but from the very essence of nature. Yet due to their innately derived nature origins, their natural origins, they are inherently fragile when pitted against the powers of the government. Indeed, the right to revolt is inherent in mankind, but for this right to bring about the American Revolution, the Founding Fathers knew they needed a novel political system to emerge from the 13 original colonies. To ensure the successful transition, Jefferson found the support he needed in the philosophies of 17th century English thinker John Locke. I know, we keep stealing British thinkers to create our independence from the English. Now, Locke offered a balancing act. He proposed that men trade fragments of their unalienable rights for civil liberties and protections granted by the government. This, quote, social compact between men and government was adopted by Jefferson, who noted in the Declaration of Independence, quote, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Now, this harmonious interplay of Hutcheson and Locke within Jefferson's ideas and what he put to paper from pen resulted in what George Washington would later term the Great American Experiment. Despite its American manifestation, liberty, as defined by Jefferson, wasn't really innately American. The Declaration of Independence, as Dr. Pauline Maier called it, is Jefferson's American scripture and is a testament to the enduring human quest for a better form of freedom. American freedom, thus, is akin to light, both intellectually and inspirationally. Just as light travels to dispel the darkness, Jefferson's ingenious construction of the Declaration positions the United States as the universal beacon of this light currently. It is this light of liberty that Jefferson's scripture has carried across borders, illuminating the path towards protecting freedom both home and abroad. Throughout our history since 1776, light and liberty has been a recurring symbol across the globe coming out of America. Think of Patrick Henry's iconic line, "Give me liberty or give me death," or Henry Longfellow's line in his poem where he said, "One if by land, two if by sea," which described Paul Revere's ride, or even the Statue of Liberty itself, a gift from France who understood the beauty of freedom, liberty, and light. The statue's golden torch has radiated the promise of American freedom in the bleakest days of our history and continues to shine brightly even today as Ukraine defends its right to freedom against Russia's President Vladimir Putin and his illegal military operation. So this Independence Day, we celebrate our freedom from the oppressiveness of a foreign leader. We must also recognize that the global threats of this freedom, most notably coming from Vladimir Putin. The fight for independence being waged in Ukraine is not just their struggle, but a battle for our very existence. This battle can be seen as our contribution to the continuum of freedom conceived by the ancient Greeks, refined by Hutcheson and Locke, and then finally immortalized by Thomas Jefferson. These are all things we have to continue to defend over the centuries. Our failure to preserve freedom in Ukraine could potentially undermine the global order that our greatest generation, those that fought during World War II, what they created. And it could also encourage China's expansion into Taiwan, yet another attack on liberty and freedom of people who are so choosing to want that being self-governed. Jefferson's vision for our nation began with the word life. There can be no freedom without life. As the torchbearers of American liberty and the worthy heirs of Jefferson's legacy, we Americans cannot stand by as Putin commits atrocities against the people of Ukraine. On this Independence Day, let us find the best of Jefferson's legacy within ourselves by recognizing the struggle for freedom in Ukraine. We must remember that, like the United States in 1776, Ukraine is not perfect, but they need our help just as we needed aid from the French benefactors during the American Revolution. The Ukrainian president, Zelensky, needs our full support, just like George Washington did during the American Revolution. Freedom is rarely born from perfection, but from the pursuit of ideals often defended by the imperfect. It's through these efforts that Locke's democratic social compacts, refined by Jefferson, are forged, creating a platform for each generation to improve upon, and build upon those freedoms from previous generations. If we want American freedom to endure and flourish, we must recognize our role both as beneficiaries and guardians of liberty across the globe. As Benjamin Franklin once challenged us, we have a republic, quote, if we can keep it. To preserve our great American experiment, we must find ways to fund, defend, and advance American freedom in Ukraine. So let's celebrate the Independence Day not just for the United States, but also in Ukraine by once and for all providing them with all of the assistance they need to eject this despotic ruler in Russia and restore liberty across Europe. So happy Independence Day, specifically in the United States, but really to all of us. Have a good day, everyone.